وين أنا كركي بصود عهبين أو عنا عيرين وقبت حجابك خدودو هوس قلي قبرها بحال هذا الصبح لي جسم أركي كرني عوض عنه أنتو ليك ليها عنه مقارك اللي لقى في قي دون تنوع أنت قفل بهالمر أو هي اللي بقعدك أو كعنة بس رابك وكله دوسود أو وحكلو قينا بعتجين وكله.
This is a shocking. It's not shocking in one sense. We knew this sort of thing were happening, and we hear it in our community a lot. It actually have a name, term. The people who trade from this sort of thing, and the process they go through, both of them has a name in the community. The people who trade from this thing and people smugglers, they call them Magaffe. I remember when I first heard that term, I didn't know what it was. When someone just casually said, "Oh, so and so is in the hand of Magaffe," and they are asking so much money and they are asking help. I said, "What is that?" "Oh, there's someone relative or child or whatever, can't remember what it was, is in the hand of Magaffe in I think Libya or Sudan." And that's, "Oh, what is it?" And I said, "What is the Magaffe thing?" Magaffe, if you translate it in Somali, it is the name. It's an active participle. Magaffe is the one who does not miss. It's the not misser. That's what it means in Somali. But yeah, one who does not miss. In other words, his cities, particularly those who are doing, going to, what was the term? Going through the seas or whatever, and they go through in Libya. So they sit in there. Anyone who goes through that route and try to go to Europe, they have to go through this person or these people. And an original I thought was a Somali person, someone with a Somali name, man. And they told me, no, it is the people smugglers or people who capture the people and take them captive and ask for ransom. And they ask relatives or the parents of the usually young people and ask them to call. When they call them, they tell them pay that money or we kill them, and even they torture them. So this one is a bit different. It is something I've been hearing a bit through social media. Some boat smuggling has been organized from Mogadishu, I think, or in the south of the Somalia. And a lot of people, money was taken from them, and then eventually that come to the attention of whatever authorities in the country. And now this man you see is a Somali judge. Is a judge who's hearing the case of what happened to this young girl who is a survivor. Let's hear, and I'll try to translate as much as I can into English. And I'm doing this, I want to hear the young people, the young Somalis, generally in Africans, but the Somalis who are extremely indifferent, who really, I see them complain and have no clue and no idea of what young people of their age, some of them younger than them, or maybe a bit older than them, the extent they are going just to end up where they are, here, to come to here to Australia. And it shocks me. It makes me lost for words when I see people who are complaining. And I don't understand. I don't know how to describe it. I cannot describe how I feel. And I'm someone who's been here, who hasn't gone through that hell, luckily, and been here in this wonderful country for over 30 years now. And when I see people who pretend this, look, let's listen what the girl is saying. So this is a trailer. She will say these things later, but pretty much what she's saying is, she mentions a girl who was on her body for 5 days, died on her body. She also, a fish has fallen into her, literally on her lap, and they ate in raw that fish. And also when they got so thirsty and they needed to drink it, they were drinking the rainwater which was falling onto their body, onto their clothes. So they were sucking the rainwater, fresh water from their clothes.
oo fatxi waa maqasho maleeya korkii ku dhimatay shimbiriya hay iyadoo sakaraad ah oo hala hoos amal ay nafta ay soo baxday roobka kale markuu doo waxa uu miiraa dharkiya uu miiraa afkeeda uu shubaa doonta aan saarnay motorkeed halaa
ay ma qof ku
saar.
Now she said the boat which she was in, the engine has malfunctioned, and the judge said, how many of you were in the boat? And she said, we were 33.
ma qof wada dhimatay
waxaa dhimatay 18 qofood.
How many has died? She said 18 of the 33.
qof wada dhimatay ana naxariisto
ko doomay yarana la saar oo saddex xabe
From the beginning they were taken to a smaller boats,
oo
which were 3.
oo wabi ay ka bixisay
Some sort of a river. It's a young girl, so she's just expressing the best she can and kind of understood what she saw that moment. So she's saying a river, but I think it's what do you call the canal or the things which goes out of the sea. You know, what's the word? That's what strip or what do you call it? So but she described it as a river. So they were 3 small boats. They were taken to 3 small boats via a river, which they ended up in the sea then later on.
oo gacanta la lagu waday
And that boats, they were hand driven. They were, they didn't have an engine. They're not an engine boats.
ha biyo oo soo leexday amal ay ahaayeen bis marka oo hal saac amal ka bacd doonta weyn oo tagnay
After an hour, they ended up with the
doonta weyn la saar doonta weyn 4 maalin saarnay
and they were in that bigger boat for 4 days.
kadibna dooma kala la disaa
kadibna laba doon kale oo
The judge has asked, and then you ended up using or ended up on other boats, and she said yes. There were 2. There were smaller boats who were on top on that big boat, so they were put into that smaller boats again.
doonta weyn si saarnay oo la dajiyay aan ugu kala qaybiyay 75 ahayn
75 qof wada
And the whole people who now starting their journey from that to the smaller boats is 75 people.
raashin ma saartay doonta yar
The judge has asked, was there a food? Do you have a food or ration on the boats?
raashin anaka oo wadan beert safari ee nooga halaabeen because wax badan ay joognay
She said we had a food, but she said safari farm. It seems to be where they will collect or gather it first before they ended up on the smaller boats. So she said that safari, the food they had has ruined in there because we were there for a long time.
beert safari wax badan joogteen halka sidii kaaga halaabeen
ay ku halaabeen
marka doonta raacaysi wax raashin ma dawada
ma doonta weyn raashin nagu siinay
So when you starting the journey with the boat, you didn't have any food, and she said no, they gave us some food on the bigger boat.
raashin ku siiyay doonta yar ka raacdeen
doonta yar marka raacno waxaan siiyeen biyo caafi
And what about when you went on to the smaller boats from the big boat? And she said they gave us some food, a chicken in a boxes, chicken like a cooked chicken, and in a boxes, bread and a water.
iyo kartoon oo door duban ah iyo rooti oo khaleel ah
aalidisi
ha in siiyeen
haye waa idin ka dhamatay marka
ka bacd waxaan allah wax yar la soconaysiin bas
And the judge said, what happened to that food? Is it quickly finished? And she said, yeah, they told us you would have a very short distance. You'd be traveling in a very short distance, so you don't need a lot of food.
cadooyin yar
haye
motorka halaabay oo doonta aan ku saarnay motorkiisa halaabay
And then the boat they were on, the engine has malfunctioned.
sidaas marka ciladu ku dhacday doonta sarreena qof wada saarnay
Now he asked it again, how many people were on the boat you were on?
doonta motorkeeda halaabaya
ha adi doonta saarnay
doonta oo aan saarnay motorkeeda halaabay
ay ma qof wada
33 qofood
Yeah, she already told us that, but she said, yeah, she repeated it. There were 33 on that boat she was on, which the engine has malfunctioned.
ما قفوضة دمتين
waxaa dhimatay 18 qofood.
He asked her again how many people has died, and she said 18 people has died.
سوي جديد قفوضة دمتين ولا ونحرست إن كدبنا مدغشقر قربت تكتين.
And then after that, when did you end up? And that's the first we hear in this conversation, Madagascar. It seems they left what around Mogadishu or around Mogadishu, and then traveled to Madagascar. Madagascar, as everyone knows, is an island off the coast of Africa, Southeast Africa or Southeast something like that, Africa, Madagascar.
Madagascar waxaa tagnay 24 bisha.
Okay.
We ended up in Madagascar. She said date. We don't know what date or which month is it, but it's 24th of the month. When it was 24th, we ended up in Madagascar.
سكوبا حالة دونتا إي حالك نسوها.
Now he said, tell us in a brief what was the situation, your situation in the boat, and how on that. Just give us a small, brief story.
محكمة دلودة.
Share with the court, please.
doonta ku marka raacin caadi ahayn.
From the beginning, when we started the journey with the boat, things were all right.
markaas socon cabaar doonta mayoto horta waa la geeyey.
And when we traveled for a while, we ended up in Mayoto.
هيا.
mayoto mashaajidka adinka waa maqalnay.
And at Mayoto, we could hear the call of the prayer, to call, Muslim prayer to call of the mosque. We could hear.
هيا.
waxaana la mayoto waa joogtiin hadda ciyaal weeraa joogto suuxiya galayna hideen.
They told us now we are in Mayoto. This is not the right time to go in nighttime. We will go into the city or the Mayota in the morning.
nimanka hadda ma gali karno.
We cannot go in now.
bis waa nala soo celiyey badweynta nala soo celiyey.
And then we came back. They took us back to the main sea. So go back to the sea, away from the town and where they hear the prayer.
badweynta marka nala soo celiyey doonta maanta dhan way naqnaqanay ma hooyo. si uu naqnaqanayso motorkeena waa halaabay.
It's a young girl. She only describing what the best way she can describe it. She said when we went back, we were in the boat, and the boat, she said, is traveling around. But pretty much, I think what she's saying is it is floating. So the boat is floating on the sea for a long time, and therefore the engine malfunctioned.
nin oo mayotaas ah oo naqoodiyaha ahay wuxuu dhahay 75 qofood aan maliiliishiinin 40 qofood lacagtooda liisiyo dhahay.
A man who is from Mayoto, who was one of the person who's responsible for the boat, said, I was given the money I got was for 75 people. No, sorry, the money I got was only for 40 people, but that you are 75. There's 75 of you.
inkan 75 motooradan way halaabeen.
And the engines are no longer functioning. The engines are not functioning. It seems to be some sort of a setup, but she's just telling us as it was and the way she knew it, what happened. So the man saying to them, look, I've been, handy, what's the word? Short-handed. The agreement was, the money I was given was for 40 people, but you are 75. And the engines of the boats are not working now.
banaanka taga hoo dhahay ninka inii soo diraawaca lacagta haduu ku soo dari waayo mani soo noqonaya hadda.
He said I will go out, but means I will go to the city. I will interpret to be, and he said I will call the man who was responsible and the one who brought you into me, and I will ask him to send me the rest of the money.
But
you have to know, if I drop you here, in other words, in the middle of the sea, no one will ask me about you.
waa baxay gabar oo marka cunug wadato wuxuu dhahay soo bax adi hore ku sii wada weydiido heelada dadkayga la joogaa.
Therefore, and he said he left it, but before he left, there was a girl with a young child, and he said, come and go with me. She kind of said, I think that girl said, my family or some of my relatives are in the town or something like that. But he asked her. We don't know. Maybe she gave money or something. But the girl is just telling us what she heard and what she observed. So a woman with a young child went with him and said some of my relatives or some of my people are in the town and went with him.
adii saa u soconi maalin buu soconi biyihii iyo waxaa naga dhammaada kasta yarista hiisanay.
And again, I would say they were floating around. It is a floating around, but she said we were going on and on and on for days and days and days until we ran out of water and food.
Ibacda qofka way shoogay camal qof markay shoogto waxay ku dhahay ii jooji mooto bajaajka.
Then she said people was disoriented and confused. So she said people will say, stop the taxi for me. She said bajaj. Bajaj is a three-legged small vehicle of some sort of a taxi used a lot in Somalia and East Africa for transportation, local transportation. It's called a bajaj. I think it's manufactured in India. And so people so disoriented. Some of the people, they think they are in that taxi and they say, stop for me, I want to get off. Stop for me. Stop the bajaj or the taxi for me, I want to get off. And she said we have to stop them. We have to stop them jumping in pretty much to the sea, to the sea, because they think they are in a bajaj or taxi and they want to get off. Some of the people, they were also disoriented. They would request a tea, a white tea, a tea with a milk. They would request it, because of the disorientation and the confusion they're in.
dadku waxay ka sheekeeyaan waxay cuni jireen iyo noloshay soo mareen iyo maskaxdooda tagayso.
Some of the people, they talk about their life and what they used to eat because their mind is gone and they're not thinking properly, so they tell you about what they used to do, what they used to eat.
ibacda qofka energy ay beele qof suuxa camal ay noqonayaan.
The person then finally will lose energy and conscious and they faint. Or they lose conscious. Then eventually the person will lose their life and become dead.
markay dhimato laba beri hadii la haayo kale doonteena waa la dhaqaa qofka dhar loo gelina oo adag wiilasha ku dukanayo waa la tuuray.
And then after that, when the person stays with us for 2 days, we wash, we get some clothes, put them on that clothes. The man will pray on them, the traditional Islamic burial prayer, and then we throw them off the boat. He asked again how many people died that way. He said my own boat, the one she was on, 18 people died that way. 2 of them were young babies.
ولا ما صغير تحت.
شن Madagascar geene wiilna anako xerada ku jirno dhinta.
5 of them, it seems to be their body. They took them to Madagascar. That means, they were died on the boat, but they took them to Madagascar. And 1 young man died while they were in detention or something in Madagascar.
حرضوا يكون أنت والسفاري معه.
أو حكون أنت ومدغشقر.
أو مدغشقر يكون أنت.
لو بريك بعد.
لأن ظروفها
He died after 2 days.
ده كجرتين iyo soo ahayd.
هذا وقتكد مقارك نو naga dhacay.
He asked, tell me a little bit about the situation and how you were, and her response is, was very bad. We lost the skin. We lost our skin.
doonta ani malaayga ugu weyn ani korkay ku soo dhac habeen oo la cunay ceeriin
Now this thing was given at the beginning of the video. She said the biggest fish, a big fish, fall on top of her, jumped from the sea and fall on top of her, and
waaqabta xijaabkii ku duuduuba hoos galiye gabaraha waxay dhahday suuxi dhiig.
She said I captured it and I hold it with my clothes, my hijab, and she said a girl said we cannot eat it daytime because it's raw, and she's saying it, we see the blood. I guess fish does not have blood, but we can just say it raw. Because it's raw, we cannot eat it raw daytime. When we see it, let's eat it now, nighttime.
Gisma arki karnee cawada aan cunno intuu dhiig leeyahay aan cunno maqaarkii alle laga fiiqay doonta dhan way cuntay.
They just removed the skin and then everyone on the boat has eaten it.
qof walba hal mar oo hilibka cadka.
Everyone has 1 bite of the white meat.
oo ka cunay bas roobka oo kale hadduu soo da'o waxaa ka dhuuqaynaa baatigeena.
Whenever it rains, you know, because they are in the sea, they cannot drink sea water. She said we suck the fresh water from our clothes. We use that as a water drink.
kale iyo maradeena gabar hadda oo fitxi waa maqashaa maleeya korkii ku dhimatay.
Girl, Judge, I think you heard it. Her name called it Fathi. She died on my body. She was on me when she died, when she lost her life.
Shimbriyahay iyadoo sakaraad ah.
She was holding her for 5 days.
oo hala hoos oo camal ay nafta ay kasoo baxday.
She thinks life, her lower back, her lower body was lifeless, and life was only remaining on her upper body.
roobka kale markuu da'o waxa uu miiraa dharkiya uu miiraa.
When it rains, I would get squeeze water from my clothes into her mouth to give her some drink.
afkeeda uu shubaa malaaygan waa u geliyay mar iska soo tuftay mar labaad ma u gelin.
And on the fish we were eating, I gave her a bite into her mouth. At one time she threw it out, and then I did not try it again.
waa garad malaayga ma soo dabanaysin?
It seems to be the judge is not, paying a lot of attention. So he asking again the fish, were you fishing? And how did you get the fish? But she told us already. Look, I just want to finish it with this. As I said earlier, this kind of situation, and the people, young people especially, who are trying, they call the term, they call it tahriib. There's two terms you hear when we talk about this sort of things. Two words I learned it while I was here in Melbourne: tahriib and Magaffe. I mentioned Magaffe. Magaffe is a people smuggler, or the people, not even the smuggler, the original, but the ones, the smuggler who is usually in Libya or Sudan, in that North Africa, that area, or somewhere in that direction, and get people, and then they hold them captive, hostage, and ask money to be sent. And sometimes they torture them. They record videos and send it to their relatives, saying they even ask the relatives to call the relatives, and they listen to them and torture them. That's true. That's true story. You hear so many stories of it. That's called it Magaffe. The person who does that, Magaffe, and I think I talked about at the beginning what that means. The other term you hear is tahriib. Tahriib. It's an Arabic. I think it's Arabic, but it is a journey. It's self-endangering journey. It is it's a self-endangering journey. Is what it is. That's how they describe it, tahriib. And a lot of young people came to Europe, and then travel around and went it, and then those become a magnet for the other ones, and they think there's no accurate information, not even emphasis of the hell they go through, how dangerous it is, and there's no much of a common sense, really. That is the country, the people of Somalia, through the Republic in the last 30 years or so, was in a hell and chaos. So everything has malfunctioned. Everything has malfunctioned. So even there's no even truth. There is no reference. The society, the community has lost reference. Absolutely, without a doubt, has lost the reference. So there is no reference. Everything, when you say something is bad, what are you saying is better or worse than this, than that thing I know. And if you're saying something is good, you are saying it's better than this, than that. So you have to have a reference. You can't just, there's no one thing which is everywhere bad. Like, for example, the truth. Truth is not just one truth. It is comparing to something else. So because reference is gone, that the Somalis are in a very bad situation, without a doubt. And I hardly see anyone who talk about in a genuine way. A lot of people are talking, so-called leaders, so-called experts, so-called ulama, wadado. They talk and talk and talk, and they don't make any sense. They're just smoking it. One of the things which upset me the most is people, especially those who are making themselves religion, they've been talking and talking for close to 30 years. And you see them changing their views in a sense. But they never say it, look, we used to think this and think this way. We realize now that wasn't right, and now we change our view. I no longer hold that. That was wrong. And they don't say, you don't, everyone has the fact. Everyone knows the truth. They know it. And therefore, because everyone want to be the one who tells the truth, we all want to be guessing each other. Everyone is guessing everyone else. And that's why I say there's no reference. We lost the reference. And the things I want to come to now is, it shocks me and dismays me when I see people, us who are in well-off countries, who are doing very well in terms of safety, well-being, education, healthy, safety, security, all of that. When I see, and then we complain. In fact, we even complain in the countries we're in. And then the young people are hearing that and growing on that, and they don't have no clue. It seems to be they have no clue, and we raise them also with no reference. Because when you see a young person who does not know anything about their own cousins, first cousins, who are going through this hell, like this girl, they going through that hell to come here where they are, and they don't know anything about it. No one is telling them, no one is bringing to their attention and say, are you aware of that? Are you aware of it? Do you have the luxury you have? What you have is something people are destroying themselves, going hell and losing their lives. And now we complain. What kind of, how can we, I cannot describe it. I really cannot describe it. I don't know how to describe it really sometimes, where we are. Because I see it, you see it, you hear it, and we live in a different world. And it goes back to what I said, we lost reference. And this is not, the Somalis were not like that. Absolutely, I don't believe that. But the last 50 years, a journey has started, which started the so-called government, so-called modern government, which was trying to imitate and emulate what they saw in other countries, for example, in Europe. And then they introduced some foreign concepts, foreign system, foreign way of thinking, with no context, with no explanation, with no introduction. And then that created the whatever they were trying to build to collapse. And then that collapse, we moved on, everyone moved whichever direction they could go in the last 30 years. And then we further lost reference. Everything. And we are in a very bad shape now. The conscious, we are absolutely, without a doubt, we are a community which is full of energy, full of confidence, full of bravery, but we are sick. Our conscience is sick. Our mindset is sick. Our thinking is sick. There has no reference. We are going in a circle, physically, literally, and mentally. Because one of the basic examples of that is when we are where we are, in Australia, America, UK, New Zealand, Canada. This is the country. This is our areas we can compare. Even also there's a lot of them in Europe, Scandinavians. And you see these people, while fully know and aware of what is happening, where they come from, and their own relatives, you see them complain from that system and saying it's a bad place. I'm having a bad time. I've been mistreated. And I kind of say, what is this person talking about? And it truly says what I said about the reference, because everything, whenever you say something is bad or not good, it's a comparison, it's a relative. So when you say something and you complain about something, you must know, so I've been to, or I was used to be, or expecting much better than this, especially your own life, your own, the people you relate to, your relatives, your friends, your people on your circles. I don't mind someone who become an immersed and become part of this system, and therefore when they are complaining like the way these people are complaining and saying it, I was expecting this system to be so good and so better than this. I was expecting X, Y, Z, and that's not happening. I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. That's okay. But that's not what I see. That's not the complaint I hear. That's not. Let me make it clear. That's not what I'm talking about. It is people who sometimes even made it look like they might have made a mistake to be here. The people who give that impression. They might not say it loudly, but they give it that impression. And therefore, and that's not true. It is absolutely not true. And why am I talking about that? Well, it kind of points to what sort of person you are, what sort of community you are. A person can corrupt mentally. A family can corrupt mentally, thinking, mindset, culturally, the way they behave, the way they see it, can corrupt. A community can corrupt it all. And that is what I believe absolutely, without a doubt. We in Somalia, unless we correct ourselves, especially those that we absolutely, I believe, still majority of us are good. But there is a very minority who are loud speaking, who are correcting, who are knowers of everything, who are the best of everything, who would, and we are not stopping them, and we are not distancing ourselves from them. We are not saying very clearly, we have nothing to do with you. You don't have to say it loudly. You just need to judge it and assess it. Every person you see, and if you see someone, if you're not comfortable with the way they behave and you're not happy, absolutely, just move away from them and look and find those who are at least doing the right thing. Not only someone who says the right thing. And until we hear that, we will be on this journey and we will live hell on this earth as a community, the chaos, and it will only get worse. And I don't know when we leave this world what waits us. No one knows it. Please share, especially the young people. Especially the young people. Instead of young people who run away, who've been taken away, being those who will rescue, who will be the saviors, who will become for our families, for our community back home, we are contributing it to the I don't know what to say, but we need to talk. And I want to, especially this story, young people who, when I see them, absolutely indifferent, who have no clue, who pretend, who think that they are the same as the young of their ages, 20-year-old, 20-something-year-old, when they do in high school or doing the uni. They are the same people who, Australians who are here, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, who don't have any, their relatives nowhere else other than Australia. And also, even if they have a distant third, fourth generation, they are from other countries which are stable and not that much different from Australia, or even other countries who from Asia, who have a stable country, stable government. Sometimes I feel the people who are from those countries are more appreciative and more acknowledging truthfully what they have found here. I have to say, I don't easily say these kinds. I've been saying to whoever I can, to the community in Somali, I don't feel comfortable, to be honest with you, to say these things, because I would like to keep whatever secret we have internally. And when you speak other language, especially English, everyone would hear it. But I want these young people, the young Somalis, to hear this, and put a thought into it, and see it, how valuable, how highly regarded it is, what they have, and their own relatives, their own cousins, I have no doubt, second, third cousins are putting themselves in this terrible situation just to get the opportunity they have here, and to pretend it and to not know anything about that, and not to maximize it and take the benefit from it and try to, it's mind-boggling. I don't know how to describe it. Thank you very much.